Good afternoon, Clapford. So I'm back outside next to the river for the next stage of our little grey men. So they have set off from the folly and they're going to see where they go next. Dodder opened his eyes slowly. His brain was fogged with dreams, strange, disturbing dreams, in which their oak tree house had been uprooted by a violent gale, leaving them as naked and defenceless as beetles disturbed from under a stone. What had happened? Where was he? He stared around him at the cabin. A faint light coming down the companionway shone onto the pictures on the walls opposite. Slowly the events of the preceding day and night came back to him. Of course, this was the cabin of the Jeanie Deans. They were refugees without a home now that the old oak tree was no longer able to shelter and protect them. How far had they drifted since last night? Dodder sat up suddenly and rubbed his eyes. The others were sleeping soundly. He could see no visible trace of them under the skin rugs in the opposite bunks, and only the fluffy tip of Squirrel's tail protruded from his blanket. There was no motion in the ship, no sense of movement. Quickly he pulled aside one of the little curtains and looked out. His heart sank. They were aground. Opposite was a red bank of earth drilled with old sand martins' holes. 3 small ash trees grew precariously on that steep little cliff. A swift run of muddy water still flowed a few yards away, but he could see shingle and sand just below the porthole, and even as he looked, the Jeanie Deans gave a sickening lurch to starboard, and all the plates and crockery slid off the cabin table onto the floor with a loud crash. The noise awoke the others. Bolmany jumped from the bunk wild-eyed, his hand on his knife. Cloudberry and Sneezewort were tipped right out of their bunks under the cabin table where they rolled among the plates and bedding. Squirrel managed somehow to hold on to the side of his bunk, and with one spring he was out of the cabin door. Dodder had been prepared for the worst. His hand clutched the edge of his bunk, and he just saved himself. "Oh, what's up?" stuttered Sneezewort, his eyes big with fear. "Aground, I guess," said Dodder. "Hard and fast too. Let's get up on the deck." Picking their way along the sloping floor, they joined Squirrel on the tilted bridge. Dodder was right. Aground they were, good and proper, right in midstream too, and in full view of either bank. Moreover, day was breaking and it was bitterly cold. The Jeanie Deans had gone aground on a shingle bed right in the centre of the stream. At normal water level, the ship would have passed over with inches to spare, but with the falling stream, she had not a chance. One thing was in their favour. They were still among meadows and bushes, and trees grew plentifully along either bank. Downstream, beyond the tail of the shingle bed, he could see a good deal of water. If only they could get the Jeanie Deans over the obstruction, they might at least gain the deeper stream and float on to some safe hiding place. As they stood all together, they were spied several water voles with bundles on their backs coming downstream. They appeared in a fearful hurry and were strangers, obviously refugees from the upper waters. When they saw the stranded steamer, they took to the banks and scurried by, despite the fact that Dodder called to them in their own language. Only the last vole lingered a moment and pointed with his paw upstream, and then, without saying a word, he scurried after his companions. Squirrel hopped over the side, and though he didn't like getting his fur wet, he tried to move the boat, but the task was beyond him. Bolmany and Cloudberry waded ashore. The folly barely came to their knees, and went on down to spy out what lay below. Dodder and Sneezewort remained on the bridge, shivering with cold and blowing on their fingernails. "We haven't a chance to get her off unless a miracle happens," said Dodder. "She's hard and fast. If we stay here all day, somebody will spy us. Our best plan is to leave her and go into hiding close by and try to get her off tonight." Okay, we'll come back to that a little bit later. Okay, enjoy it. See you soon. Bye.